Yo, what's going on, guys? Right now, I'm driving from Kansas to Maryland. I'm in the middle of moving to Miami. Today, we're doing the off-season recap of the Milwaukee Bucks. I want to hear what you guys thought. I thought they had a good off-season. The big thing they did was hire Adrian Griffin after firing Michael Budenholzer. Now, the current roster looks, they only have one two-way out of the three two-ways filled with Lindell Wigington. They have currently Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, Robin Lopez, Brooke Lopez, Chris Livingston, and Andre Jackson, Drew Holiday, AJ Green, Jay-Z Gortman, Jay Crowder, Pat Connaughton, Marjon Beauchamp, Malik Beasley, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Grayson Allen under contract. All right. And Jay-Z Gortman's on a training camp deal, Exhibit 10. So he could be a two-way or a roster spot. So it's definitely interesting as we look at the current construction of this roster. It'll be interesting to see what's the system Adrian Griffin is going to bring in. Javon Carter, Goran Dragic, Myers Leonard, Wes Matthews, and Joe Ingles all left. Now, the big thing is health for this team. They need to stay healthy. And, their additions, Robin Lopez, Malik Beasley, Andre Jackson, will they move the needle? Okay? Because we don't know look, they were a title contending team with Budenholzer, and obviously we assume that the organization is hoping that Adrian Griffin can right the ship and be basically, avoid playoff collapse and take this team to their ceiling, which they felt like they weren't at with Mike Budenholzer. I think this team is still a title contending team. Like, they won a title with Bud. It's really about health. 2 years ago, they weren't healthy when they lost to Boston. And it was a factor to the loss in Miami this past season because Giannis Antetokounmpo was absent for a little bit. And the team wasn't, offensively, it didn't look the same all year because Chris Middleton missed a lot of time during the regular season. I feel like they did get deeper, okay? And they got depth. And it's all about, I think, the point guard position still scares me a little bit. As right now, if we look at the current roster, we know the starting lineup is more than likely going to be Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brooke Lopez. We assume, Malik Beasley, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, Bobby Portis, and Marjon Beauchamp off the bench. And then their break the glass guys are Lindell Wigington, AJ Green, Chris Livingston, Robin Lopez, and Andre Jackson. And if Jay-Z Gortman makes the team. So for me, I'm just curious. Malik's going to come in and bomb threes. We know Bobby Portis, he was like a 6-man of the year candidate. Pat Connaughton, we know what he is, an athletic sort of 3-and-D guy. And Jay Crowder, we all know what he is, bruiser. We kind of want Marjon Beauchamp to take the jump this year. He would really help. If you could, if Marjon's good enough or Malik's good enough you have Grayson off the bench, I feel like that's something you would really want. But it's all about, Adrian Griffin being a former player. He seems like a leader of men. It's about holding this team accountable. It's a whole new coaching staff. And I really do believe the whole thing with this team is being healthy because at this point, the best ability is durability or availability, whatever you want to call it. It is to be seen, is Adrian Griffin's offense going to look similar to what Nick Nurse's, okay? Or is it going to be similar to Dwayne Casey's? What is that going to look like? I assume there's going to be ball movement and being a former player, a lot of emphasis in ball movement, probably a lot of shooting threes, limiting, the inefficient shots, and, hustle. I expect them to be a great defensive team still, but I'm curious, will Chris Middleton stay healthy? Brooke Lopez, can he continue what he did last year for a bit longer? He's getting up there in age. And Giannis, what's he looking like in terms of health, and will he be able to, maybe go back to doing a bit more facilitating, sort of what he was doing his first few years, especially if he needs to start creating for others a bit more now, if Chris Middleton is going to be struggling with injuries like he has over the last few seasons. I think those are things to consider.